Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of the Idiot Book Nook.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Blazewing. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them.
I am the Reading Dragon, and my pronouns are she, her.
My name is Lady Punnet, and I go by she, her, or they, them. Today it's she, they.
And my brain
Awkward
went
pause.
blank.
Yeah.
We are reading the Bartimaeus series.
We are going through the Bartimaeus, the first book of the Bartimaeus Trilogy today. We are going through the Amulet of Samarkand. If you would like to follow us on socials, you can find Lady Punnet on TikTok at paulina.avalon. You can find me on Linktree at linktr.ee/blazewing2010, and you can find the Reading Dragon on Linktree at linktr.ee/thereadingdragon. If you would like to take a look at our podcast hosting site, or you would like to leave us a voice message, you can do so at anchor.fm/idiot-book-nook. And if you would like to take a look at our website, you can do so at idiotbooknook.wordpress.com.
Woo.
Crittershy says you need a hydrate command.
I see that.
I knew I forgot to do something during break.
What?
I forgot to hydrate.
This is why you both should have water bottles next to you.
I usually do, but I drank all of it.
I have liquid beside me, thank you.
Is it water?
Yes.
There you go.
Flavored water.
Yes, but it is still water.
Yes.
Hi, Nugget.
So, I believe we are moving on to chapter 2.
Heck yeah.
So,
Nugget, no. Nugget, no. Nugget, no.
For those on the Twitch live stream, there's a cat.
suddenly cat! To our narrator, take it away.
Nugget, no. Stop it.
The Bartimaeus Trilogy, Book 1, The Amulet of Samarkand, by Jonathan Stroud, narrated by the Reading Dragon, voice acted by Blazewing 2010 and Lady Punnet. One moment while I clear my throat now. Chapter 2. When I landed on the top of a lamppost in the London dusk, it was peeing with rain. This was just my luck. I had taken the form of a blackbird, a sprightly fellow with a bright yellow beak and jet black plumage. Within seconds, I was bedraggled, a fowl as ever hunched its wings in Hampstead. Flicking my head from side to side, I spied a large beech tree. Leaves mouldered at its foot. It had already been stripped clean by the November winds, but the thick sprouting of its branches offered some protection from the wet. I flew over to it, passing above a lone car that purred its way along the wide suburban street. Behind high walls and the evergreen foliage of their gardens, the ugly white facades of several sizable villas shone through the dark like the faces of the dead. Well, perhaps it was my mood that made it seem like that. 5 things were bothering me. For a start, the dull ache that comes with every physical manifestation was already beginning. I could feel it in my feathers. Changing form would keep the pain at bay for a time, but might also draw attention to me at a critical stage of the operation. Until I was sure of my surroundings, a bird I had to remain. The second thing was the weather. Enough said. Third, I'd forgotten the limitations of material bodies. I had an itch just above my beak, and kept futilely trying to scratch it with a wing. Fourth, that kid. I had a lot of questions about him. Who was he? Why did he have a death wish? How would I even. How would I even. How would I get even with him before he died for subjecting me to this assignment? News travels fast, and I was bound to take some abuse for scurrying around on behalf of a scrap like him. Fifth, the amulet. By all accounts, it was a potent charm. What the kid thought he was going to do with it when he got it beat me. He wouldn't have a clue. Maybe he'd just wear it as some tragic fashion accessory. Maybe nicking amulets was the latest craze, the magician's version of pinching hubcaps. Even so, I had to get it first, and this would not necessarily be easy, even for me. I closed my blackbird's eyes and opened my inner ones, one after the other, each on a different plane. I looked back and forth around me, hopping up and down the branch to get the optimal view. No fewer than 3 villas along the street had magical protection, which showed how wealthy an area we were in. I didn't inspect the 2 farther up the street. It was the one across from them, beyond the streetlight, that interested me. The residence of Simon Lovelace, magician. The first plane was clear, but he'd rigged up a defense nexus on the second. It shone like blue gossamer all along the high wall. It didn't finish there either. It extended up into the air over the top of the low white house and down again on the other side, forming a great shimmering dome. Not bad, but I could handle it. There was nothing on the third or fourth planes, but on the fifth, I spotted 3 sentries prowling around in midair, just beyond the lip of the garden wall. They were a dull yellow all over, each one formed of 3 muscular legs that rotated on a hub of gristle. Above the hub was a blobby mass, which sported 2 mouths and several watchful eyes. The creatures passed at random back and forth around the perimeter of the garden. I shrank back against the trunk of the beech tree instinctively, but I knew they were unlikely to spot me from there. At this distance, I would look like a blackbird on all 7 planes. It was when I got closer that they might break through my illusion. The 6th plane was clear, but the 7th, that was curious. I couldn't see anything obvious. The house, the street, the night all looked unchanged. But, call it intuition if you'd like, I was sure something was present there, lurking. I rubbed my beak doubtfully against the knot of wood. As expected, there was a good deal of powerful magic at work here. I'd heard of Lovelace. He was considered a formidable magician and a hard taskmaster. I was lucky I had never been called up in his service, and I did not much want his enmity or that of his servants. But I had to obey that kid. The soggy blackbird took off from the branch and swooped across the road, conveniently avoiding the arc of light from the nearest lamp. It landed in a patch of scrubby grass at the corner of the wall. 4 black trash bags had been left out there for collection the next morning. The blackbird hopped behind the bags. A cat that had observed the bird from some way off waited a few moments for it to emerge, lost patience, and scuttled curiously after it. Behind the bags, it discovered no bird, black or otherwise. There was nothing there but a freshly turned molehill.
And thus ends chapter 2.
I forgot how short these chapters were.
I'm definitely thinking that Bartimaeus is probably. We know that he's a demon, But I'm definitely thinking he's of the trickster variety, because although demons have been known in all lore to shapeshift, the ones that have been known to shapeshift multiple times and feel comfortable doing so have been the trickster deities and demons and
Not
such.
just that, but the way he talks, the way he speaks about himself, and the way he narrates what he's doing also leads me to believe that, because tricksters are overly confident.
They really
but
are.
they don't overestimate their abilities, or at least in a lot of cases they don't.
Also, Critter says to hydrate.
Yes. Also, 7 planes? The fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought there was 6 planes of existence.
According to this book, 7.
That's interesting. He also mentioned that there was something on the 7th that he couldn't see, or he was pretty sure there was something there.
Yeah.
So this begs the question, does he exist on all 7 planes simultaneously?
More than likely.
Or does he exist on just one, and then he can flit back and forth between them as he chooses?
I think he can. I think it's similar to how spirits can technically exist on multiple planes, like ghosts and specters and stuff, but they can only be seen on certain planes of existence. Like, Bartimaeus is choosing to be seen as a bird
Yeah.
in the plane of existence that the book is currently in, but I imagine he's in the other ones, especially like the higher planes.
Yeah.
If there's like a hierarchy system, he's probably in like his true form or something.
Yeah.
If he chose to appear that way.
Yeah, and for this, he probably chose to be a black, because according to what was read, he chose to look like a bird on all 7 planes just in case, especially for what he's about to do.
Interesting.
Because the planes of existence, as per the book's description, it seems like it's being described as different levels of sight.
Yeah, well, it's also interesting because they're placing a lot of limitations on an otherwise all-powerful being. Like, if he manifests physically, it causes him pain. And not just that, he can't watch all 7 planes all at once. He actually has to pick and choose which ones he is actively looking at. Which means it would be easy, not easy, but it would be a little easier to take advantage of him in that respect, because there are certain things he may not see coming.
We also don't know what limitations he currently has, being bound by the summoner, the child.
That is totally fair.
I wonder if the more powerful the magician, the more abilities he has. Or the more abilities he's allowed to use. Kind of like how, sure, you can have an all-powerful beast bound to you, but if you don't know how to train it and how to do things, it will only probably ever do the bare basics of what you've learned.
An example I'd like to bring up is the Hellsing Ultimate series.
Yeah.
And for Hellsing Ultimate, Alucard is bound to the Van Helsing woman. And I keep forgetting. Integra. Yeah, Integra Van Helsing. And she has to know the proper command words to break certain seals for him to do certain abilities.
Interesting.
There's a possibility that the same concept is being done in this book.
So would he be able to perform those abilities on all 7 planes, or does that require extra seals for each plane?
I think it depends on the command he's given, because he's been told to get the item by dawn tomorrow. So I think that gives him like leeway. Like, he wasn't said, hey, you can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
There
wasn't any specifications as to how to do it.
You don't have to be sneaky about it. Just get this item.
He's choosing to be sneaky about it. He could have just
Which
gone
also
in
makes me think
blazing.
he's a trickster.
Yeah.
Hi.
There's a cat.
Suddenly, another cat.
Do the cats not understand they have to be paid to be seen?
I mean... meh. Cats do what cats do.
Fine. Come here. That's interesting. Other than that, I'm all out of questions.
I'm curious to see, because again, it's been a really long time since I read this book. I'm curious to at least revisit how he does this.
It's interesting. Like, I get why he chose a blackbird because blackbirds are easy to hide in the night sky. It's interesting, though, that he chose one with a bright yellow beak, which, if I remember correctly, that is a raven. Because ravens are the ones with the bright yellow beaks, are they not?
No, ravens are the larger of the blackbirds.
Hold on, let me just check.
Well, you're probably thinking as a crow.
No, crows have black beaks.
That's true. It could be a geographical variation.
Well, it's making me wonder though, because why, if you're trying to sneak and trying to be like hide, wouldn't you pick a bird that was completely black? Why choose something with a yellow beak?
Maybe he didn't have a choice.
You think it's kind of like how sometimes people, like an animagus form, how you don't choose what you be?
Not just that. I'm thinking maybe he didn't have a choice that the beak was yellow. Maybe it was a... Would you stop purring into the microphone?
Well, it says here, I had taken the form of a black bird, a springly fellow with a bright yellow beak and jet black plumage.
Yes, but...
He took on the form of a common blackbird.
But it doesn't say that he chose to have the yellow beak. That's my point.
Yeah.
Maybe he couldn't choose that. Maybe it's a defect, or maybe he doesn't have the ability in his current form to choose that.
Maybe he has to have like some sort of color.
Maybe.
It's almost like a weakness, or kind of like a telltale sign, because every demon has a weak point, right? Every demon has something that they have their bane. Maybe this is one of those things for him.
So he either could have taken on the form of a common blackbird, which is what he described. There's also the possibility that he took on the form of a European starling.
That's a possibility since he's in London.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, he probably took on something that could be hidden in plain sight, that was a lot more common in the area he's in. Or, like what Blazewing said, he probably has limitations to what forms he could take, which leads us back to the possibility of, depending on the skill level of the magician that summoned him and what the magician currently knows, will determine what he's able to do.
Can I just say for a moment that the discussions for these books, there's a lot of difference between books that we have amassed an entire library's worth of knowledge on, like, say, the Harry Potter series, and this series, which two of us don't know anything about. There's a whole different flavor of conversation that we're having surrounding these. I kind of like walking into these blind. It's interesting to experience this for the first time. And even though the chapters are short, they're not as long as we're used to. I'm hoping they'll get longer as we move on. But I'm kind of intrigued. I'm kind of almost... I want to know what happens next, even though, I mean, if I'm understanding correctly, these books were written for kids.
Or at least young adults.
Or young adults. I am kind of hooked. I want to know what happens.
From
then again,
12.
Then again, I also enjoy certain young adult books as well. So,
so chapter 3 is a little bit longer. Instead of just 3 pages like we just read, chapter 3 is at least 14 pages long.
See, I'm not showing 14 pages.
It's just per what I have for the physical copy. But chapter 4 is a little bit longer.
Yeah, see, I'm showing a longer chapter 4, but chapter 3 I'm only showing as a page and a half.
Oh, probably for the digital copy then. And depending on what size font it was used when creating the digital format.
So, that being said, do we want to break here, or do we want to move straight into chapter 3?
I think it might be good to break here to give Lady Punnett a chance to get what she needs to do set up.
Okay. So we will break here. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can follow us, Lady Punnets, on TikTok at paulina.avalon. You can find me on Linktree at linktr.ee/blazewing2010. You can follow The Reading Dragon on Linktree at linktr.ee/TheReadingDragon. You're looking very much like a gangster.
I just got my vape in my hand.
If you would like to take a look at our podcast feed, that's anchor.fm/idiot-book-nook, and our website is idiotbooknook.wordpress.com.